Let the great sage question him, so that he may devise the proper means to rescue the sage monk, and deliver the worthy prince from his suffering." Pilgrim was delighted by what he heard. Trembling all over, the local spirit kowtowed and said, "The year before last, that old monster descended upon the Bamboo Knot Mountain. The Nine Bends Curvate Cave was originally a den for 6 lions. Since the old monster's arrival, however, the 6 lions all honored him as their grandsire, who is actually a 9-headed lion. He styles himself the 9 Numina Primal Sage. If you want to vanquish him, you must go to the wondrous Cliff Palace at the East Pole and fetch his master. Only that person and no one else has the power to subdue him." When he heard this, Pilgrim thought for quite some time, musing to himself, "The wondrous Cliff Palace at the East Pole, that's the salvific celestial worthy of the great monad. His beast of burden is precisely a 9-headed lion. In that case," he at once gave this instruction, "let the guardian and the gods of darkness and light return with the local spirit to their proper stations to provide secret protection for my master, my brothers, and the princes of the district. The city deities should take up their post to guard the city." The various deities obeyed and left. Mounting the cloud somersault, our great sage journeyed through the night. By about the hour of the tiger, he arrived at the East Heaven Gate, where he ran into Devaraja Virupak and an entourage of celestial guards and Vira. They all stopped and, folding their hands in their sleeves to salute him, asked, "Where are you going, great sage?" After returning their salutation, Pilgrim said, "Making a trip to wondrous Cliff Palace." "Why aren't you on your way to the Western Heaven?" asked the Devaraja. "Why have you come to the Eastern Heaven?" "When we arrived at the Jade Flower County," replied Pilgrim, "we were royally entertained by the prince. His 3 sons, in fact, took us 3 brothers in and honored us as teachers of martial arts. Little did we expect that we would end up with a bunch of lion fiends. I've just found out that the salvific celestial, worthy of the great monad at the wondrous Cliff Palace, is the lion master, and I would like to ask him to subdue the fiend and rescue my master." "It's precisely because you desired to act as someone's teacher," said the Devaraja, "that you got into trouble with a den of lions. No doubt that's the reason." "No doubt that's the reason," chuckled Pilgrim. All the soldiers and Vira saluted him again with folded hands and stepped aside to let him pass. After the great sage entered the East Heavenly Gate, he reached in a little while the wondrous Cliff Palace. He saw colored clouds in tears, billows of purple mist, tiles shimmering in golden flames, doors guarded by rows of jade beasts, flowers fill a double arch swathed in red mist. Tall trees, sun-drenched, are encased in green dew. Truly myriad gods surround the place, where all sages flourish. The buildings are layers of brocade, all joined through windows and porches, watched by an old dragon circling in light, divine and charged with thick, auspicious air. This is the realm of everlasting bliss, the Palace of Wondrous Cliff. Inside the gate of the palace stood a divine lad wearing a garment of rainbow hues. When he caught sight of the great sage son, he went inside to announce, "Holy Father, the great sage, equal to heaven, who caused great havoc in the celestial palace, has arrived." The salvific celestial, worthy of the great monad, at once asked his guards and attendants to usher his visitor in. When they entered the palace, the celestial worthy left his lofty lotus throne of 9 colors enshrouded in countless beams of auspicious radiance to greet them. Pilgrim bowed low, and the celestial worthy returned his salutation, saying, "Great sage, we haven't seen you these few years. I heard some time ago that you left the Tao to embrace Buddha in order to escort the Tang monk to acquire scriptures in the Western Heaven. Your merit and work must have been accomplished." "Not quite," replied Pilgrim, "but they are near completion. At this moment, however, my accompaniment of the Tang monk has taken us to the Jade Flower County, where the local prince was kind enough to have his 3 sons take Old Monkey and his brothers as teachers of martial arts. New weapons were being forged, using ours as models, but they were stolen by a thief at night. When we looked for them in the morning, we learned that the thief was a golden-haired lion spirit residing in the Tiger's Mouth Cave on the Leopard's Head Mountain north of the city. A ploy of Old Monkey got back our weapons, but that spirit banded together with a considerable number of other lion spirits to brawl with me. In their midst was a 9-headed lion who possessed vast magic powers. He caught with his mouths my master, 8 rules, and the 4 princes, and took them to the 9 Bends Curvate Cave of the Bamboo Knot Mountain. The next day Old Monkey and Sha Monk followed them there, and we too were captured. Old Monkey was bound and beaten by him countless times, but I was fortunate enough to have escaped using my magic. They are still suffering at that place. Not until I questioned the local spirit of the region did I find out that the celestial worthy happens to be his master. I've come especially to ask you to subdue the monster and grant deliverance." On hearing this, the celestial worthy immediately ordered his subordinates to fetch the lion page from the lion den and bring him forward for interrogation. The page, however, was sleeping soundly and did not wake up until some of the gods had given him a few shakes. They dragged him up to the center hall, and the celestial worthy asked, "Where's the lion?" Shedding tears and kowtowing, the page boy could only mutter, "Spare me. Spare me. In the great sage sun's presence you will not be beaten," said the celestial worthy. "But you'd better confess quickly how you carelessly allowed the 9-headed lion to run away." "Holy Father," said the page, "the day before yesterday I came upon a bottle of wine in the hall of Universal Sweet Dew. Not knowing any better, I stole it and drank it, and I fell fast asleep. I must not have locked up the beast properly, and that's why he escaped." The celestial worthy said, "That wine happened to be a gift of Lao Tzu called Jade Liquid of Transmigration. If you drank it, you'd stay drunk for 3 whole days. How many days has it been since the lion ran away?" "According to the local spirit," said the great sage, "he descended to earth the year before last. By now, it's almost 3 years. "Yes. Yes," said the celestial worthy with a smile. "A day in heaven is a year in the mortal world." Then he said to the lion page, "Get up. We'll spare you for the moment. Follow me and the great sage to the region below to retrieve him. The rest of the immortals may go back. There's no need for all of you to accompany us." The celestial worthy trod the clouds with the lion page and the great sage to reach the Bamboo Knot Mountain, where they were met by the guardians of 5 quarters, the 6 gods of darkness and the 6 gods of light, and the local spirit of the mountain. "You who are supposed to be guardians, has my master been harmed?" asked Pilgrim. "The monster spirit," replied the deities, "has been rather upset and has gone to sleep. He has not inflicted punishment on anyone. After all," said the celestial worthy, "that child primal sage of mine is a true spirit who has attained the way through prolonged cultivation. One roar of his can reach the 3 sages above and penetrate the 9 springs down below. He will not take a life casually. Great sage son, please go and provoke battle at his door. Entice him to come out so that I may subdue him." Hearing this, Pilgrim indeed whipped out his rod and leapt toward the cave's entrance, shouting, "Brazen monster spirit, return my people! Brazen monster spirit, return my people!" He shouted several times, but there was no answer at all, for the old monster had fallen fast asleep. Growing impatient, Pilgrim wielded his iron rod and fought his way inside, shouting abuses as he moved along. Only then was the old monster roused from his sleep. Startled and enraged, he scrambled up and roared, "To battle!" At once, he shook his head and attacked with open mouths. Pilgrim turned back and leapt out of the cave. The monster spirit followed him out, crying, "Monkey thief! Where are you going?" Standing on a cliff, Pilgrim said, chuckling, "You still dare be so audacious and unruly. You have no idea what's coming to you in a moment. Don't you realize that your venerable father master is here? The monster spirit rushed up to the cliff, only to find a celestial worthy reciting a spell and shouting, "Child primal sage, I'm here." The monster recognized his master, and he dared not struggle at all. Falling prostrate on all fours, he could only kowtow repeatedly. From one side the lion page dashed out and, seizing his hair on the neck with one hand, rained blows on his head with the other. "You beast!" he scolded him. "Why did you run away and make me suffer?" The lion dared neither move nor utter a word. Only when his fist grew tired did the lion page stop punching and put the brocade saddle on. The celestial worthy mounted him, gave the order to leave, and the lion rode the colored clouds to return to the wondrous cliff palace. After giving thanks toward the sky, the great sage entered the cave. He untied the jade flower prince first, then Tripitaka Tang, and finally, 8 Rules, Sha Monk, and the 3 princes. Together, they looted the cave's valuables before stepping outside. 8 Rules piled up dried wood front and back and started a blaze. The entire 9 Bends Curvate cave was reduced to a charred and gutted kiln. Then the great sage dismissed the other deities, though he ordered the local spirit to remain there and guard the region. 8 Rules and Sha Monk were told to exercise their magic and carry the princes back to the prefectural city on their backs, while Pilgrim himself took hold of the Tang monk by the hands to transport him. In a short while, when the sky darkened, they all arrived at the capital and were met by the queen, the palace ladies, and various officials. Evening Megare was served at once, and they all sat down to enjoy the fare. The elder and his disciples again rested in the gauze drying pavilion, while the prince retired to the palace. They all had a peaceful night. The next day the prince ordered another huge vegetarian banquet, for which all the officials of the palace, high and low, gave thanks. Pilgrim also asked the butchers to slaughter the 6 lions and skin them, as they had done to the yellow lion. Their meat was to be prepared for the people's enjoyment. Delighted by this suggestion, the prince at once gave this command: the meat of 1 lion was to be saved for the residents of the palace, and that of another would be given to the administrator of a princely establishment and other district officials. The rest of the 5 lions would be cut into small pieces, about 2 to 3 ounces each, and distributed by palace guards to the civilian and military populace in and out of the city, so that they might have a taste of lion meat to calm their fears. All the households thus acknowledged the gift with gratitude. In the meantime, the ironsmiths had finished forging the 3 weapons. As they kowtowed to Pilgrim, they said, "Holy Father, our work is done." "What's the weight of each of the weapons?" asked Pilgrim. "The golden hooped rod weighs 1,000 pounds," replied one of the ironsmiths. "The 9-pronged rake and the fiend rooting staff both weigh 800 pounds. "All right," said Pilgrim, and he asked the 3 princes to come out and pick up their weapons. "Father Prince," said the 3 princes to the old prince, "today the weapons are perfected." "Because of them," said the old prince, "my sons and I almost lost our lives. It was fortunate that the Divine Master did exercise his magic to have us rescued," said the young princes, "and to have the monstrous deviates dispersed. With all evil consequences removed, we may truly expect a peaceful world of calm seas and clear rivers." At once the old prince rewarded the ironsmiths. Then father and sons went to the gauze drying pavilion to thank the masters. In order that their journey would not be delayed, Tripitaka urged Pilgrim and his companions to hasten in giving lessons in martial arts to the princes. Right in the palace courtyard, therefore, each of the brothers wielded his weapon and began instructing the princes one by one. In a few days, those 3 princes became thoroughly familiar with their drills and exercises. All the methods of offense and defense, fast and slow, indeed, all 72 styles of movement that belonged to each weapon were mastered. The 3 princes, after all, were most determined to learn, and, moreover, the great sage Sung had endowed them with divine strength. For this reason they could now raise and move a 1,000-pound rod, or an 800-pound muckrake. Compared with the martial arts they formerly practiced by themselves, This was something else indeed. We have a testimonial poem which says, "Good luck for them has 3 teachers convened. Why should martial arts bestir a lion fiend? The empire's safe when perverts are wiped out. They yield to one body and pariahs rout. 9 fits the principle of primal young. From all perfection the Tao truly sprang. A mind informed these teachings ere release, and grant jade flower lasting joy and peace." Once more the princes gave a huge banquet to thank their teachers for the instruction. A large platter of silver and gold was also presented as token of their gratitude. "Take it away quickly," said Pilgrim, laughing. "We are people who have left home. What do we need it for?" 8 rules, sitting to one side, said, "We really can't take the gold and silver. But this robe of mine has been torn almost to shreds by those lion spirits. If you could provide us with a change of clothing, it would be received as a token of your great love for us." The princes at once asked the tailors to take several bales of blue silk, red silk, and brown silk, and, following the styles and colors of what the priests were wearing, make 3 suits of clothing. The 3 pilgrims gladly received their gifts and put on their new cassocks of silk before packing to leave. At this time, there was not a single person in and out of the city who did not address them as incarnate arhats or living Buddhas. All the streets were filled with the sounds of drums and music and clogged with the colors of banners and pennants. Truly, outside each household the incense fires burned. Before each door colorful lanterns turned. Only after escorting the pilgrims a long distance would the people permit the 4 of them to resume their journey toward the west. Their departure signaled their escape from the various lions and their devotion to attaining the right fruit. Truly, without a worry they'd reach Buddha's realm, and, with hearts unfeigned, ascend Thunderclap. We do not know, however, how great a distance remains for them to reach Spirit Mountain, or when they will arrive. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter.